Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. My name is Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Friday, February 23rd, 2024. Still feeling the effects of football season being over. Baseball season starting up, I guess, though,
Yeah.
I know, it's not. It doesn't get real for us for baseball
Soccer season starts up in a couple weeks.
Yes, that's true as well.
Switchbacks.
Yeah, the Switchbacks. For those of you, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, they're the local team for the USL Championship. And so that's cool. Oh, MLS did officially start. They started February 21st. Is that right? Or is that a preseason game?
It might be preseason, but I got a notification on my television saying the Union had a game this week.
Yeah, they
but
do.
unavailable. So
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
they play tomorrow, it looks like. Yeah, 5:30 p.m. That's
but
cool.
I'm not sure if it's regular season yet.
That's the thing. I
probably
know.
not.
I'm not delved into it enough
into
it enough to really know. But hey, soccer season's coming up, baseball season's coming up, basketball season continues on, hockey season continues on, which is great and everything, but it's just not football. I know. I love all sports, but it's just not
pale
football.
in comparison. That's for sure.
It's just not football. Well, this is our Eagles Therapy Podcast, and we're here to have a little fun in the off season, talk about some coaching changes or some of the finalized coaching decisions that have been made, talk about some of the stuff that's going on with the Eagles team. We're going to talk about a position later in this podcast, about what we think will happen in the offseason, whether we'll draft free agents, who will be back, stuff like that. And then we got a little list to end the day of some of our least favorite non-Eagles players. We'll get more into that as well. But as always, we want to give a little plug to the club. We are part of the Philadelphia Eagles fan club in Colorado Springs. That is the name of the Facebook group. If you're an Eagles fan here in Colorado area, we'd love for you to join it. If you live around town or around the state and you want to come watch a game with us at Frankie's on Powers and Galley during the season, we're there every single week with a lot of fun and a lot of beer and a lot of nice dollar wings. I think they're going to be doing again next year, which were delicious. But let's go ahead and jump into it, Dad. First thing we'll talk about is the Eagles coaching staff. So the Eagles coaching staff was finalized today. So I'll just list it off through here, and you can tell me if you're surprised. Some of them will be just kind of like we've already talked about before, but some of the smaller ones we can talk about a little bit. But of course, head coach still Nick Sirianni. Yeah, what a surprise. Michael Clay, special teams coordinator, approval. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, approval. Offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. I'm happy with that as well.
I'm big for that.
I've been very happy with the major moves. Staying at running backs and assistant head coach, we got Jamal Singleton. Passing game coordinator and defensive backs, got Christian Parker. Passing game coordinator and associate head coach, we got Kevin Patullo. Keeping his spot at the O-line coordinator or offensive line and run game coordinator, we got the Jeff Stoutland, Stoutland University, professor at Stoutland University. I want to see if I can buy a shirt like that.
Yeah, they're out there, I'm sure.
I'd love to have one of those. Yeah. Defensive assistant and defensive line coach Clint Hurt, the big boulder. Cornerbacks coach Roy Anderson, safeties coach Joe Casper, inside linebackers coach Bobby King, tight ends coach Jason Michaels staying around, wide receivers coach Aaron Moorhead, quarterbacks coach, this was the big one, Doug Nussmeier, defensive ends outside linebacker Jeremiah Washburn staying on. Assistant special teams coordinator Joe Panunzio. Special teams assistant Tyler Brown. Run game specialist assistant offensive line TJ Paganetti. Offensive assistant Kyle Valero. I got to say, I know at some point you're just kind of like, so what does this guy do?
Right.
Offensive assistant.
They're all, they're pass game coordinators and you're like, defensive back coach.
So what does he do? Assistant linebackers, defensive quality control, Ron L. Williams. Eric Dickerson staying on as offensive quality control. Defensive quality control, Tyler Scudder. Head coach quality control.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Tyler Yelk. Ted Rath, vice president of player performance. And Fernando Noriega, the head strength and conditioning coach, keeping everyone strong out there. So that's your 2024 Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff.
But the good thing about that is that they're not a bunch of first-year guys that we're just going to give a shot to.
Yeah.
These are guys that all have experience. They've all been around. That's what you need to do in the NFL.
That's what we were looking for.
It's nice to find that young, coach, whatever. But last year with what we had, I'm glad we went back to proven in the past, have experience. I know him. He's bringing him with me. I know him. He's good. He's staying. That just seems to be the way that they're building it this year. So
yeah, I like it a lot as well. I'm happy with it. One thing I want to talk about earlier this week, there was some stuff that came out about Nick Sirianni and about how Big Dom DeSandro, when he got suspended for the regular season after the Niners game, they said Nick Sirianni, he is in charge of keeping Nick Sirianni's morale up or keeping him control of his emotions and
Right,
stuff like
right. I
that.
saw that.
And they're like, oh, so yeah, Nick Sirianni, he was getting in fights and arguments with all of his players and coaches. And I'm like, is this it's starting to bother me with the media nowadays.
Right.
And I just have to go, is this real? Like, I can't tell now because you're telling me a grown man, and I know Nick Sirianni's an emotional guy, and he wears it on his sleeve, and I love that about him. But
Right.
you're telling me he needs a guy, he needs a 350-pound guy around to keep
take it
him, hey,
easy.
calm
Take
down.
it easy.
Really?
Take it easy.
Like, I understand you keep him back from jumping over in the line, but
Right.
you're telling me there's a guy who needs to control him. Like, I don't know. If
know.
Nick Sirianni was really fighting his players and coaches that much
Yeah.
to where they didn't have Deshaun Dom around, like,
yeah,
I didn't remember seeing any footage about that.
No,
You know what I mean?
saw a
Like,
lot of sideline video. I mean,
yeah, I never saw him punching a player.
no,
I
didn't see him get knocked over by one of his own tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just that off season. When you got big fans like we do, fanatical fans in Philly and wherever, throughout the country, they got to talk about something, I guess, and that's what they do. But you just got to take it with a grain of salt and just kind of go, hey, all right, it's the off season. Maybe it didn't end well, and these guys need to make up stuff. I don't know, to get clicks or whatever, but it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Hearing that, I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
You got to do better.
This is bad.
There's got to be
make
a better
up something
story.
else that can be,
he hits
more
his
believable.
dog or something, or
make up something more believable. Come on.
I agree.
All right. Off of that, let's talk about a signing that we made. Huge signing, a big splash in the water. The Eagles re-signed tight end Albert O.
Yes.
What
yes.
I'm so confused. And
one pass in his direction, 0 completions, 0 yards. So
it's funny. I saw a bunch of tweets about it, like about Ruben Dave, and same with us. We made that prediction. Oh, he's gone. Everyone's saying, oh, he's gone, and it's like, oh, well, that's already ruined. Like, it's like, man, like, I gotta know. What are the plans? What was the decision? Why do we have this guy? Like, is he a weapon that we're like, okay, we got to keep him around. We're going to let him. You're learning the whole playbook for a whole year. We're going to let him learn the playbook, and the next year he's going to be our number 2 tight end. What?
Right. Well, I mean, it does make sense in a way. Kellen Moore might have came in and said, "Hey, Goddard's good, whatever, but we need 2. We need 2 guys to do it." I mean, the other 2 tight ends we have obviously are blocking tight ends for the most part. I mean, I think Calcaterra caught 1 or 2.
Can catch the ball, but he's faster. But he's not a playmaker.
Yeah, it's like we need another tight end that can come in if Goddard's hurt, and really just to more weapons the better. I mean, that's just the way the NFL is nowadays. You can't say, "Whoa, you got 2 number 1 wide receivers and a great tight end." Well, they're shut down or injured, and you're troubled. So I like it, but I wish I'd seen a little bit more of him this past season.
Yeah.
When Goddard was out for 4 weeks or so.
True. Yeah.
I kept saying he's going to get in, and he never got in. So it makes no sense.
It's just so weird.
I'm not. Don't get mad at me if I don't get excited about them signing Albert O. For a season.
I can't be. What's
ridiculous.
What's the plan? I know I know we can't know the plan, but I'm like, what? I don't understand. I just don't get it. Let's talk about AJ Brown. Today, I'm sure everyone's seen it all over Twitter and whatever you follow or who you see. AJ Brown called into 94 WIP today. Had a little interview.
Just give me a second. Let's roll it back a second. So yesterday, I guess David Eskin, is that his name?
I don't know.
He's a radio show on WIP.
Yeah, Howard's son.
Kind of saying stuff about AJ and then AJ had tweeted something about, "Hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow morning and we're going to talk about this." Because I didn't know. I don't live there. I couldn't hear it was on the radio. I just saw a little clip of it.
Yeah.
But he said, "I'm going to call you." And then when I was watching this afternoon, one of the guys that I see that broadcasts out of Philly said he had not called in, but then you came over and said he did call in. So I guess it's David's show came on.
Yeah, I don't know, because he was talking to Ike Reese, and I can't remember the other host with Ike Reese. It's not Joe Giglio. I can't remember who exactly it is that Ike Reese hosts with, but he's like the midday show, like afternoonish midday time. And he called for us in Colorado Springs. Sorry,
right.
He called in. They had like a 20-minute interview. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Okay,
I was at work all
day.
So
what came out of it? What did they?
A quote I was actually going to bring up, but what the big thing was AJ called in. He was letting them know, like, the media is kind of just, it's frustrating because they're all saying, "Oh, AJ doesn't want to be here. They're probably going to trade him. He broke the locker room, yada yada." And he called in and he made it clear, like, "I want to be here. I love being in Philly. I want the people of Philly know I love them. Like, I love this place. Hurts is one of my best friends. Like, This is not, and they make a lot of spectacle on, oh, is their relationship breaking? And he's like, what does it matter to you? Like, I love this guy. Like, we're great together. He's amazing. No one was questioning our relationship when I was catching 125 yards a game.
Right.
It's just when it started going downhill that,
I think
they blamed
one of the games, I can't remember which one it was, maybe Dolphins game or something, but they had a little argument on the sidelines, or at least a little animation on the sidelines. So I think they let that speculation go from there. But, we're playing ball. Hey, man, I'm open or I'm not open, or throw it to my right side, or what. We're teammates. We're trying to work this thing out. We're trying to score touchdowns here. And, it's just, I'm glad he called in, because what I had seen early in the afternoon, he said he was going to call in, and he didn't call in. But then apparently that guy's show was not till like drive time. So 4:00. So it happened after this was recorded. So
I got a good quote that I liked that I wanted to read out. AJ today said in the interview, or the conversation, whatever you want to call it, I'm the person you need on this team because I am willing to hold people accountable, make people around me better, but nobody sees that. All you see is the little flare-ups. Nobody in that building works harder than me. I can stand on that and say that. And I liked hearing that. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, is that a jab at his teammates?" No. It's not. He's not saying, "Oh, I work hard and no one else does." No, he's saying, I give it my all. I give it my best for this team and for this city. And when I get questioned by the media about wanting to be here, or if I like being here, or if I don't get the ball enough, it's not that. I want to play ball and I want us to be great.
Yeah.
And when he talked about it, a lot of times they asked, like, in the last Giants game, or I'm sorry, the game before the Giants game, the second to last game of the season.
Cardinals?
Oh my God. Yes.
Was it?
Oh,
that was.
I can't believe that game.
Yeah.
In the Cardinals game, he had a moment. Devontae got hurt, and AJ's walking back, and he threw his helmet off. No, didn't throw it off, but his straps down. And they're like, "Oh, he's mad he didn't get the ball." And he's like, "No, I'm mad because my one of my best friends got hurt.
Right.
It sucks.
We're down a wide receiver now.
And we're already losing.
Right.
One of my friends just got hurt. So it's really frustrating. It was nice to see it, and I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to about 10 minutes of it, but on Twitter, a lot of people that I follow, part of the Eagles fandom and everything, were saying that he kind of ripped the media apart and was just kind of going in on
Well, I don't know if you heard what the guy on the radio show said the day before, but he did one of those things where, we're the ones that pay his salary, the houses they own. I don't know if you saw that, but that's what I heard.
God.
He had said, the houses these players own, it's because of us and the fans and the media. And that's what he had said. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh man. And that's when like AJ had tweeted, I'm going to call you in the morning and we're going to talk about this. So, that's what I'd heard. And I kind of went, man, that's, we're not at that point, are we?
Wow.
You're a millionaire because we buy the tickets and we're the ones that.
That couldn't have been Eskin. I don't know.
That's
who
what
it was,
I saw that.
Okay.
That's what he had said. And at first I kind of looked at it like, is that what's he saying? And I think that's what kind of got AJ in an uproar and said, I'm going to call you tomorrow and we're going to talk about this. And apparently he did. So I'm glad he did call in. But
Spike Eskin might have been. He's got two kids, Jason and Spike Eskin.
He's got
looks like it's Spike
drive time show or whatever, a later afternoon show in
Sorry,
WIP.
I know we don't live in Philly, and it might
so
be
it
annoying because we don't listen. But I don't know how we don't have time for this.
That's what was said. That's what I heard him saying, and I went, hey man, and I guess that's what they got to do to get clicks and get it going here.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what I heard.
That's crazy. Okay. Well, it was just good to see that AJ called in and confronted all this stuff, and I don't know what will come of it, but it was just good to see, and it's good to see that he wants to be here, whether you believe it or not.
Right.
I'm just happy to hear him say it because it just doesn't. I'm blown away by Philly media sometimes because, there's a quote, and people always say it: "No one hates Eagles players like Philly media. No one hates Philly players like Philly media, and no one hates Philly media more than Philly fans." Something like that's the quote, or somewhat of it. People say it all the time, and it's true, and it's like. These guys, for some reason, we have in our hands right now, we have the greatest wide receiver in Eagles history. I'm just going to say that. And I'm right. It's A.J. Brown.
After
I know
2 seasons.
We could talk about, there's others, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Quick, but go back to Harold Carmichael, but that's too far away.
Right.
A.J. Brown is probably and most likely the best Eagles wide receiver, the best wide receiver in Philadelphia Eagles history after 2 seasons, like you said, after 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And already the media just rips him apart and wants him gone. Like, what are we
doing here?
He's going to be gone. What? Why are you saying this?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like, this guy is the second most important player on our team because, and it's not even his fault. It's because
Right.
quarterback is the most important player on the team.
Right.
That's the only reason he's not number one.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like,
It's true.
It just blows my mind. I can't believe it. It's frustrating, but it was just great to see that he called in to say that
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm glad he did call in just to
Yes.
whatever happened, whatever went down, if he called the guy on the carpet or whatever, but that's what I saw this afternoon when they showed why AJ was going to call in or was because like I said, at the point he had said that they didn't call in yet, but he had said that. And I saw this guy saying that about the homes you own and everything like that. And I went, oh, here we go again. You know, I've seen that before. And you're just like, but I mean, there's that fine line between being a fan and being a crazy fan. And that's, I mean, we get a lot of knocks for being, the fans that we are, right? I mean, look at us, we're out here in Colorado and we're talking about the Eagles all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, but at the same time, you got to watch, your bar, you can't go over the top, but back there they can, because you have 100,000, 200,000 fans calling in every day.
It's true.
So
I've tried calling in. It's hard. The both times I've called in, I've gotten on a wait, and I had to hang up because I was at work.
I got in once.
I was on my lunch. Yeah.
2011 after the Eagles Snow Bowl game.
Yeah, who'd you talk to? I can't remember. Geither?
It might have been Dave Spadaro, maybe. But it was an after the game.
Yeah.
And I was in El Paso at the time.
Didn't you talk to a former player?
Could have been.
Was it Trotter or it was a linebacker? It was Trotter or Geither or
it could have been.
It could have been Spikes. It could have been Ike Reese.
All I know is I called the number because I was so excited. And what I said was I was in Texas.
You were, yeah. I remember that game. Yeah, you were in El Paso.
I think it was in in El Paso. I'm not really sure now.
I think you
But
were
it was cold and windy there, and I watched the game inside the hotel there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But
you weren't at a bar?
No. That's the time I had my one chair, and I redid the room to have my TV right there. And
I can't remember what game it was or what year it was, but weren't you at a bar with like a bunch of Cowboys fans once when the Bears killed the Cowboys?
Oh yeah,
and you were with your Bears friend.
I was with. We were not in Dallas, but we were in somewhere in Texas. I can't remember if it was in San Antonio, but I was doing a lot of work on the border, so we went to a Cowboys bar. And he had his Bears shirt on. It was a Monday night game.
Yeah, the Bears.
But a lot of the guys I was with, like, he liked this team and this guy liked this team. I like the Eagles, obviously. But yeah, it was crazy because they got smoked.
The Bears killed them.
I can't
remember the score or what year it was, but I remember because I remember you saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm at a Cowboys."
It was
bar.
fun. It was fun.
They killed them. It was great.
It's always fun to do that. But
of course.
I mean, but then at the same time, we have our bar here in town, and then we'll get a fan or two from the other team, and it's not much fun when you're not winning and you're.
Yeah. And then that fan starts trying to fight.
Tries
to start fights and stuff like that.
Yeah, we only had the one guy. We had a Dallas guy, but he doesn't start fights. He's just kind of a
douche.
Jerk. Yeah. But that one guy at the
Bucks.
It
was the Buccaneers.
First of all, come on. How many Tampa Bay Buck fans are there? Come on.
In Colorado, right?
Come on. Get out of here. But that's the same thing when you find out there's the bar that then you got that one or two people that just like being those people.
Yeah, let me go be a jackass. Yeah,
but luckily for them, we are not the type that take him out back. We had to kind of break it up, as a matter of fact, and we sent him on his way. But
it's hard because it's like, dude, I'm not from Philly, so I'm not like Eagles fans in the sense of fighting and drinking. I didn't drink actually. I didn't drink at all this season.
Right.
I think I had one beer, one game.
I was really disappointed in you too.
I think it was for because I wanted to change our season around. So I was like, well, maybe I have to drink a beer. I did not drink all season until that game. So I don't drink. I do get crazy and scream and yell, but I don't do anything like that. But,
right.
Man, it's just weird when you like, dude, haven't you heard about?
Just go somewhere.
Well, haven't you heard about Philly fans? Like, do you really want to risk this situation over a football game? Like, how crazy these people are.
Yeah. It was.
It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because there was some guys that, we kind of had to go over there and say, hey, not here, guys, not in this. This is our bar. We want it to be.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's 99% Eagles fans.
Oh, yeah.
But every year that Cowboys, the few times we play the Cowboys, there's always that one old man sits at the bar. And then when you're leaving, if we like the one year we lost, and he's like, I'll see you guys later, and you're just like, you're going to lose in the playoffs.
Literally never been here. Go lose to the Packers. Okay,
but yeah, there's a Cowboys bar right up the street. Go there, but. You always got that person that wants to start shit.
Well, it's a person who's not a real fan. They just want to be
an antagonist. They just want to start trouble.
They just want to be an antagonist,
Yeah.
All right,
anyway,
let's talk about safety. All right, this is the position we're going to talk about today. This is going to begin a series of talks about different positions, what we think we'll do to address it. We'll talk about who's coming back, on paper, who's coming back as of right now, like, if they still have a contract with us and stuff like that, who we think will come back, how we think we'll address it, if there are any changes. We'll talk about free agents, maybe stuff like that. But talking about safety, so ones who are coming back, like they're on a contract, got Reed Blankenship, Kevin Byard, Sidney Brown, of course. That one's a little bit different because, of course, he'll be in his second year. And Justin Evans. What do you think of those names?
Well, Reed did have trouble towards the end of the season, but, I mean, everybody did. So I really don't think we can even look at any of that. He's been a great player for us, and in his, 20 games he's played maybe.
Right, true.
Great hitter. He's still very young. He's got a smaller contract. I think for sure he should be back, and a starter. I really believe that. I mean, hopefully we can get. I mean, he just needs help. We didn't have any help last year, and you can't really go by what happened towards the end of the season. He definitely had a fall off, just like everybody else, but he's been incredible. Last year he was incredible in 10 games he played, and this year the first 8 or 10 games he was incredible as well.
Great, yeah.
It's just that last fall off, and at the same time I say. He can't be making a boatload of money, and he's still a young developmental player. Big hitter. I love big hitter safety, so he's also, definitely one that should be back.
Also, sorry, I was wrong. Justin Evans is not back on contract. He's a free agent. I don't know why I said his name.
How old is he?
He's 20. He's 28, but he's never played a full season in his career. He's not coming back. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Reed Blankenship, he's got to be back as a starter. It's hard because you're right. A lot of people like saying, "Oh, well, this guy had a bad end of the season. This guy had a bad end."
Yeah,
the whole team did. Like,
we all did.
There's no, even the fans did. The media did. No, there's no. Oh, that guy wasn't good, dude. I can't look at anybody.
No,
one person had a good end of the season. It was Keely Ringo, and that's really it.
And he did.
I mean, everyone else on the entire team had a pretty horrible end of the season. It just, even Devontae, he didn't have a terrible end, but it just was bad all the way around. There was no, everyone. This guy's been bad. Dude, they all sucked. So, Reed Blankenship, I agree. He's coming back. I think this will be kind of a prove-it year.
Prove it as far as is he going to be a starter maybe the next season.
Yeah,
but
because I think he's going to be back in the team. He should be his full-time starter. But I do agree. I think that this year will prove everything. Like, if he doesn't do great, if he's like this year, then it's probably his last season with us.
Yes.
But if he does great, then we were right, and we get to keep him forever. Yeah. I think it's a big prove-it year for him. Kevin Byard.
He was such a surprise the year before, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Last season.
Yeah, coming in for C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
He was he had a pick on a second play of his career.
Yeah, right. It was.
Like when you see that, you're kind of like, oh man, like this. He's a playmaker. It's funny how players are. You don't expect much, and then all of a sudden he makes some big plays early on. I mean, he picked off Aaron Rodgers, which was even more
better.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
But so when a player like that comes in and steps right in and starts playing well, I mean, you kind of go, wow, now his future is, he's going to have to start wearing sunglasses. His future's so bright.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were pleasantly surprised. So, I think we need to see what he's got. Squeeze what we can out of him.
Kevin Byard.
Gone.
Sidney Brown, of course, he'll be hurt coming back to the season. We don't know when he'll be back.
Sidney Brown, what was it? A special teams playing that stupid Giants game.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because the week of that game, you had talked about how bad that field up in New York is.
Yeah.
The Met.
The
right?
Met.
Yeah. And you were screaming about it, and you were just saying it's the worst field in the
history of the
NFL. And sure enough, he hurts himself. Like, it was fairly. I think it was late in the game, but was it early?
It was first quarter. It was. I might have been
on a punt return.
I think it was the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, we punted, the clock ran out, and he got hurt. I'm pretty sure it was that.
And it's so funny because in that game, remember, we didn't really see anything. We didn't hear anything.
He was walking off, and it was like they were, because I saw him throw his helmet.
Yes, that's right.
You were like, it was like, oh, that was weird. He's on the field.
Yeah,
but he knew he was hurt.
Yeah,
and then they talked about, oh, he had to be helped off, and then I'm on Twitter and I see all the Sidney Brown is being helped off, and you're like, oh.
So that's the one part of it.
It was the week after his pick six, but
oh, that big 100-yarder and 90.
Yeah,
but when you're watching the game in a situation like we are in the bar, you really don't hear anything. You can't hear the announcers. You can't say, "Hey, there's somebody on the tent right now."
We weren't at the bar that week.
That's true.
That was the last
That's
week of the
true.
season. We were no, but it did.
But
They just didn't address it. It was
just went to commercial, and
it did. It was very weird.
we heard about it like a quarter or two later. Like, what? He did what? Then you heard it blew his ACL, and you're like, oh,
That sucked.
that was awful.
So obviously he'll be back, but
Yeah.
it'll take a while for him to be
Yeah.
back since he tore it. Last game of the season. That's what sucks
Right.
more than anything is second to last game of the season,
Yeah.
basically. So that's a bummer, and
Yeah.
we don't know when he'll be back. I know nowadays they come back faster than ever.
They certainly do.
but still,
But you don't want him to come back, and then
Yeah.
hopefully he comes back strong, and he's a young kid, so that's one big plus, and we still got him for a couple of years because he's on a rookie deal or
Yeah.
whatever. So
So let's talk about some top free agent safeties coming out this year. We got Budda Baker from the Cardinals, Eddie Jackson, he was off the Bears, Micah Hyde, where was he coming from? Buffalo? Yeah, Buffalo. Tracy Walker, who I believe is coming from the Green Bay. No, Detroit. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, also from Detroit, and Jordan Whitehead from the Jets. I'm just going to choose the top 6.
right.
But those
Okay.
are the top 6 free agent kind of approximate value as far as they look to be getting the biggest
So now
contracts.
Budda Baker, didn't we talk about him maybe
Yeah,
a year or two ago?
People were
Getting
talking
him.
We were talking about trying to trade for him before the season. I think
I don't know how old he is now, but man, he's been great his whole career.
he has.
Playing for Arizona, he's been amazing.
So he's one of those weird. Early in his career, he went to the Pro Bowl as a
Special
teamer.
Yeah.
I remember that was so weird. Like I was
special
like, oh.
team coverage guy, right?
Yeah.
Or was it a punt returner?
Yeah, no, he was like a
Special team coverage guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
and
thought.
it's funny because it was like, oh, that guy made the, this is the Pro Bowler for the, and you're like, oh, I never heard of that guy. And then the next year he was like a Pro Bowler for as a safety, as a starter, an All Pro, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
That was out of nowhere. What
No,
just happened? Like,
I remember when they drafted him. The guy he's been phenomenal his whole career. I think.
He's only 28 years old, but he's had a pretty good career in sense of staying healthy.
Right. I was going to say no real major injuries.
Yeah, he's played 105 games in 7 seasons. So pretty good. He's missed a game here and there once in a while, but not many games missed. He's had a really good career. In his career, he's had 7 interceptions. So that's not much actually for a safety. But he had 3 years in a row where he had that 7. So
right.
But yeah, he was a victim of being on a pretty bad team the last few years, a team that beat us. But whatever.
Yeah.
But
our defense coordinator went there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
but he's a good player. Eddie Jackson, another player. He played with Fangio. His best season was under Fangio, or his best few seasons.
So when he was in
Chicago.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that name. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I remember from a couple of years ago, but he was
good
great
player
too.
He was great when he was on the double doink team back in
Okay.
18. He was
Oh,
on
wow.
he was
So
on the
it's
Bears double doink team.
that long ago. Then
He didn't play that game. He was on the IR, but he's on the double doink team.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think we're going to do? Let me go ahead and ask you. So who do you think will be back? Who do you?
Well,
and
I
then-
do think
Okay.
Reed and Brown definitely are going to be back. Evans, I don't know the contract situation. I don't.
There's
I don't
just
think
no way. There's no way.
I mean, I remember when he played. There was like a game or two where he
played well.
kind of made a name. He
But then-
kind of
but
went
then-
okay. Ooh,
But
maybe
then the
he's
second
got.
game he got hurt, and it was like,
Yeah,
this is
right,
why you're
right.
not.
Well,
playing.
that's where we are with most of our DBs. They're in
Yeah.
for 2 games, and even our linebackers this year. Just no one could stay healthy.
Yeah.
And it's so rough, man. When you need a guy to play, and he's not going to play. I mean,
So
it just really seemed this year like we had that more than years prior. I mean, there's so many players that were in for 2 games, and he's coming back, and you're like, it's the 3rd game he's coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, when's he going to play?
Yeah. So do you think we're going to draft, or do you think we're going to address in free agency?
Well, I think free agency is probably the best way to go, because, when you draft, like I say, we usually draft line, and we're not much for the getting a defensive back type players.
Yeah.
This year, obviously, I think we need to, but I
Oh,
can't see us
also-
drafting a safety early.
Also, I'm sorry, I made a mistake last week. I said we had 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. We only have 4. We traded one of those away a while ago.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just had that
But
wrong.
we still got a 1 and
But
2 twos.
We have 1, 2 twos, a 3, and a 4,
okay.
and then a 5, a 6, and a 7.
So now the compensation picks that you get, what are they? Usually 4th or 5th round?
yeah, third. One of our thirds is a compensatory, and then
Oh, it's already
4th.
determined.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. Okay.
yeah. So and then
Okay.
4th will probably. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't really know how it works. I'm not too smart enough with
Right,
the
right.
draft part of things, but
No,
I'm
no,
more
I
into the
get you.
player part. But you think we're going to draft or free agent? You think
Well,
we're a free agent?
I think it's more a free agent route for a safety.
Yeah.
And you got to say we've done pretty well in the free agent world with safeties in the last
Absolutely.
5, 10 seasons. Let's say 5 years. I don't want to go back too far. But it just
I'd go
seems
back
like
10 with Malcolm Jenkins and Rodney
Yeah.
McLeod.
Yeah,
I thought it's funny. I do agree with you. I don't think we're going to draft. I would like to,
right.
but I don't think they're going to because knowing the Eagles, they don't draft safeties.
Yeah.
When they drafted Sidney Brown, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
we drafted a safety.
Right.
Before that, we had drafted Kayvon Wallace back in 1920, and it was like kind of like, oh, okay, cool, but
Yeah.
that didn't really turn into anything. But
Well,
or
it
I
just
think
seems to
19,
me like
20.
it seems like it's more of a free agent situation.
It's
where-
more of a
You know
position.
what I mean? Like you can get a free agent safety. A lot of the guys you draft, I mean, you go back 10, 20 years in the drafts and you'll see a lot of those higher echelon guys didn't make it.
Do you think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to come back?
I would love it, but I think he's
Yeah.
too. I don't know what he's getting in Detroit, but
Yeah,
I think
I
Detroit-
wonder if they'll bring him back.
I just think he's happy there.
Yeah,
And he's probably maybe burned a bridge or two from Philly.
I think so.
I'm sure if he came back, we would embrace him. Of
Oh,
course,
absolutely.
But, I mean, he was definitely a great player for us that 1 year he played, and but I think he's probably thinking Detroit's got a good shot to go a little bit farther this year. They should have probably won, in the playoff game.
I don't want to talk about that.
But he played in that game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He came back.
He only played in 3 regular season games,
Jesus.
but he came back at the end of the
Yeah.
season. Yeah,
So I think he'd probably want to stay there too, kind
I
of,
think so.
make his contract, make the fans, kind of endear himself there. But
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I'd welcome him back.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's a great player.
So yeah, I think we'll be going free agent there. I don't know who. I definitely think we'll be trying to go younger, instead as opposed to older. I saw Jalen Mills is coming up, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, bring back the Green Goblin," and I love Jalen
I
Mills.
do too.
I was a big fan of him, but
Yeah.
I wanted him back like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like,
Right.
"Well, I think it'd be a good idea," but
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like, "All right, it's a little, he's
Yeah.
got to be like 31 now, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, he's got to be 30, 31, and I don't want another. I don't know if I want another 30-year-old
no.
defensive back.
No,
he's
I
only
think we've
he's only 29.
I think we've learned our lesson though.
Yeah, he's only 29. I'm surprised. I thought he was a little bit older. He must have been drafted young. He must have been drafted really young. He's drafted in 16.
Wow.
I thought he'd be older. I don't know why.
That's 8 years ish. 8 years, 9ish.
All right, let's jump over to our list. We're going to go over a little list for each of us. We each have 5 players that we're going to name. We're going to talk about our most hated non-Eagles players in history. So they never played for Philly. They
Right.
never played for
So I
Philadelphia.
reworded it.
Okay.
Players I did not like to see the Eagles play.
That's fair.
And I don't necessarily like them either.
Okay.
I don't want to use the word hate, but
Okay.
it's creeping.
I
it's
also
creeping into
have
that.
I also have changed mine. It's a little bit different as well. I have most hated non-Eagles players not named Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to devote some of this time to Tom
Okay.
Brady because that's very clear that I hate him the most ever. So
I don't hate him. I just don't necessarily like to see him play.
I hate him very much.
All right. So who wants? You want me to go first?
Do you want to go 5-5? Do you want to go all of yours,
All right,
all
let's-
mine, or do you want 5-5, 4-4? Back and forth.
Let's go 5-5,
Okay,
4-4. So
you
I'll-
first.
5. Number 5 on my list is Dez Bryant. Okay. He had 9 touchdowns in 13 games versus the Eagles.
Wow.
His record versus the Eagles, and this is the funny part. When I get down on my list, you're going to see we didn't necessarily lose a lot of games to these players that I just hated to see them play him, and I didn't necessarily like the way they played. Anyway, so Dez had 9 touchdowns in 13 games. He was 6-7 versus the Eagles, so he had a losing
Wow.
record against the Eagles. 64 catches, 975 yards in 13 games.
Oh, okay.
So that's, almost
that's-
1,000 in less than a season, right? Let's just say that.
Yeah. Okay.
15.2 yards per catch,
Oh, that's good.
75 yards per game. But the thing about Dez, kind of like Michael Irvin as well, but Dez, where, he kind of was a push-off guy. He kind of, I don't know, he just, great player. He started as a kick returner. I don't know if you know that. He had a
Punt
kick
returner, kick returner.
He had a kick-off return for a touchdown, I think, his rookie season.
Yeah, it's true.
And it was amazing because he's like 6'10".
I know,
He's
it's
huge.
weird.
But anyway, he's my number 5 on my list.
Okay.
So
I didn't do statistics, so I'm sorry. I am surprised that I'm surprised he had a losing season against us.
well,
That's kind of funny.
he was through
or
the
losing career against us.
2010s to 2000s, like
Yeah.
20 something.
Yeah, well, he padded those stats against. Oh, what was his name, Dad? The corner, the worst corner in Eagles history, Bradley Fletcher.
Okay.
Remember
Ooh,
Bradley
he was
Fletcher?
bad. He was not
He
good.
is possibly he might. I mean, unless
But we've
Bradbury.
had a lot of bad corners. So.
Bradbury's on his way there. Well, it's funny because they talk about the curse of the 24. And they're like, man, people need to stop wearing the number 24.
Right.
Because ever since Sheldon Brown, who was amazing
Right.
In the early 2000s,
Right.
we've had Nnamdi Asomugha wore 24.
No comment.
Bradley Fletcher, and now James Bradbury. Now, Slay did wear number 24 for like a season before they changed the numbering. So there's a little bit of falseness to it. But, yeah, Bradley Fletcher, he might be the worst Eagles cornerback in history. In the one game, I remember Dez had 3 touchdowns against him. And the worst part was they were all in the same corner of the end zone. And it was all 15, 20, 22 yards. Like, not 5 yards, not 6. No, from out. And it was just like, can we give him some help? Can Earl Wolf go over there?
Yes, somebody.
Wolf. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we've had some bad ones, that's
Nate,
for sure.
What was Nate Thomas? I can't remember his name. The safety we used to have.
Oh, gosh.
Nate Thomas? I don't remember. Sorry. Okay.
We had Nate Allen.
Nate Allen. Was that him?
We had one. Yeah, we had a Nate
I
Allen.
think that was him. He was bad, too. Okay. My number 5, Russell Wilson. This is on my list because he is an Eagle killer, much like Des Bryant.
Right.
I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I'm guarantee Russell has a winning record against the Eagles. I don't think we've ever beaten him, to be honest with you. I'm fairly certain.
I would almost say you're correct there, sir.
I'd say he's probably 6-0 against us. 5-0, 6-0.
I did.
He always killed us. And it was the same thing. And I know in the 2010s to 2015 they were always good, but even when we were we're here now too.
Right.
No, you're not. We were the baby bird,
right,
and they were the big bird brother, and it sucked. Agree. And it was always Russ, and we lost to him in 2020. In 2019, we lost to them twice.
Right.
Once in the playoffs and once in the regular season, and it was the same score.
Right.
Remember?
Right. 17-9.
17-9 both times. Oh my god. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. That's my number 5. Go ahead. Number 4.
My number 4. You're probably going to see a trend here, but my number 4 is Emmitt Smith.
Okay.
He also played for that team.
Yeah.
Record against the Eagles was 12-14. Again, he had a losing record against us. I know, it's crazy. He had 2,466 yards on 533 carries, so he had a 4.62 yards per carry. That's 14 touchdowns versus the Eagles in 26 games.
Wow.
Again, that's a lot of touchdowns. And that's 5th all-time versus the Eagles. So on the list of the players, I had to do that when I was doing my research here. The Eagles' top touchdowns against list, Jim Brown, he had 22 touchdowns.
Whoa.
Some of the other guys were. It's funny. There's a lot of Giants on there and a lot of Redskins, but or Commanders now, but guys you'd never heard of because it was in the late like 60s or early 70s. But he had 14 touchdowns against us in those games, and I saw Emmitt come in. He came in as a rookie. He lost probably the first 4 or 6 games against the Eagles, so he was 0-6.
Wow.
Before they started to get good.
Built it back up.
The Troy Aikman and all that thing, and then Michael Irvin came in. But, he ended up with a losing record versus us. He was 2-0 in the playoffs against us, but 12-14 overall. So
okay. My number 4 is, and I tried not to do, I did try to stray away from Cowboys. I didn't want to just make a list of Cowboys. So I tried my best. We'll see what comes up. But number 4 was Cam Newton. I used to like Cam Newton. I did really like him back in the 2015 season.
Right.
I got a little tired of the whole dab thing. I thought it was kind of like, dude, this is a really high schoolish thing.
Right.
But when we played them in 2017, I really was like, God, I kind of hate him.
Great game.
And he's good. He was good. When he was good, and I hated him. So this is not a hatred of like who he was. No, this is just a hatred of he was good.
Right.
He was 3-2 against us in 5 games.
Interesting.
He threw, let's see, 8 touchdowns against us. No way. 8 touchdowns against us, 9 interceptions.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I thought you were going to say, 0 interceptions. I was going to say, what?
No, we intercepted him a lot. And I remember, I think the guy we were just talking about, Bradley Fletcher, I think he had a pick against him in one of his games. But yeah, he didn't really kill us very much, but he was just a player I got really tired of really quick.
Right.
And like I said, early on in his career, I did like him, but I grew really tired of him. And I think the season of, was it 2019, ruined him for me.
Okay.
Was it 2019 when we were in, Red Rocks? Or no, I'm sorry. We were in Arizona.
Okay.
Sedona. We were in Sedona for
Oh,
for Jeffy Monique's
the
wedding.
yes.
For Jeffy Monique's wedding, we had to drive. We were driving, listening to the game. We went to a Buffalo Wild Wings that we finally found.
Right.
We watched the game there, and we were up. I don't know,
17-0.
yeah, something
We were
like that.
killing them.
And we ended up losing.
Yeah,
and
that
it was one of those games where I was like, oh,
well, it's funny because you were away at college, so we hadn't seen each other.
Yeah.
And this was the one game this year we were going to get to watch together. Maybe around Christmas we'd get another one. But
So it was 18. It was 20.
so we got to go and we watched and we ran to the bar. We were all excited. Well, whatever it is, bar wing, and then we ended up losing. And I remember the wedding was fantastic, but
it was amazing.
it was just such a kick in the gut. It was so upset.
Well, and it was
that we
also,
lost
like
it.
you said, I was at college, so we couldn't watch the games together
Right.
ever. I was in Nebraska.
Right.
And so we couldn't watch the games together.
Yeah.
So we had to watch. That was our one game of the
Yes,
season,
yes.
or one of the few games, and
Yeah.
we lost. And it was just a brutal loss. But
It was.
number 3.
Number 3 for me, and I'm sorry about this, but it's TB. Tom Brady. Sorry. I
Okay, that's
wish
fine.
I'd known I wouldn't have done it.
No, it's okay.
So his record against us Eagles were 7-2. He beat us 1-1 in Super Bowls, though.
Yeah, that's right.
But here's a nice
that's right.
stat for you. Here's a nice stat for you. Tom Brady, the only quarterback in history to win and lose a Super Bowl to the same team.
Oh,
Pretty awesome
that's
trivia
cool.
there. Yeah, I saw that.
That's cool.
And I'll gloss over this real quick. 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So I don't think I have to go too much farther into that. And I don't have his passing yards and all that stuff. But
yeah.
19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But we do have a great memory, actually 2 great memories of Tom Brady games. We have
That's
that one when you
right.
were home that time.
That was great. Yeah.
And we got to see it was a game
So
that
that
we-
was 2015. It was before I went to
that
college.
was amazing.
And it was 2015.
Yes.
Eagles played the Patriots.
That
Okay,
was awesome.
I don't know what week. I'm sorry. We were bad. They were, of
We
course,
were
great.
not bad. We were horrible.
We were horrible. You're right.
Yes.
2015 is the season that I consider to be the worst Eagles season in my lifetime. It wasn't even the worst record, but it was just the worst season ever.
It was bad.
We were so mid, it hurt. But yeah, we played Tom Brady, and we went into that game. You and I. It was a Sunday night game.
No, it was a Sunday afternoon. You were doing homework, and
We
I
do
was,
laundry.
mopping the floor
Because
because I'm like,
we
we're
didn't
going to
wanna watch it.
lose.
We're like, I
we,
can't.
Yeah, we don't want to watch this game. And then we were down 14-0,
Yeah.
and then we
We
blocked
we,
a
we had
punt.
we had a touchdown, and it was 14-7, and then we were like,
was
okay,
that, was that the pick six?
I don't think so. I think that was too early.
Okay.
But I think it was 14-7, and then we were like, okay, that's cool. I think Zach Ertz got a touchdown. We were like, that's cool. Then we blocked a punt.
Yeah, but
Scored
the
a touchdown.
block punt was like 8
8
seconds,
seconds
left.
left.
In the half.
Yes.
And I don't, you looked at the Belichick, the greatest coach ever, and
He's like,
you're like, why would you punt the ball with 8 seconds? So we blocked the punt, and I forget that return guy, great special teamer, picked the ball.
Chris Maragos. Oh, no, Maragos blocked it. Najee Good picked it up.
Najee Good, yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. So 14-14, and then like we always joked, we were out of this game, and then you pulled us back in. We ended up scoring, I think, 21 unanswered points in the second half.
We won 35.
One was a pick six that went about 96 yards.
99 yards. Malcolm Jenkins, 99. It was on the goal
That
line.
was incredible. Great block, and Brady didn't even make an attempt to tackle him.
Darren Sproles had a great punt
return for touchdown.
Jordan Matthews had a touchdown.
Great
I remember
game.
that game. It was great.
Game.
And
But then
the
they
Super Bowl.
almost came back. And
Yes, of course. And
Well,
then
we
the
ended
Super
up
Bowl.
winning 35-28, I believe.
Yeah.
So anyway.
My number, 35-20. Yeah. My number 3 is easy because you already talked about him. Des Bryant. I hated him. He was
wow.
great. He was just annoying to watch because it was like, he's not that, I don't think he's that good.
Yeah.
What? And then you look at the defensive back and you're like, sorry.
Yep, that's okay.
And you look at the defensive back and you're like, why did you cover him like that? That was not a good, he did nothing good at all. That was horrible. Like I watched him and I'm like, I don't think he's good.
Right.
Like, I just think why are you not playing him well? I don't know. All right. Go to number 2.
Number 2 is another player from that team. I have Michael Irvin. Here's another one for you. His career against us, 9-11 versus the Eagles. So he had a losing record against us.
Dude, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
What?
So he played 20 games against us.
Yes.
Let's see. He has 64 catches for 1,047 yards, but only 5 touchdowns in 20 games. And it's funny because when I looked it up, I figured, wow, I thought he would have had 15 touchdowns against us. He was another one. Now he goes back to the early 1990s all the way to 1999 when he hurt himself and his career ended in the vet there. But he was the push-off king.
Yes.
And he's the one that really used to bother me because he would get away with pushing off all the time. And then he had some personal issues that used to drive me nuts. But I didn't dislike him because of football. It was more just some of the things he did and all. And, his career was pretty good. I mean, they did win the three bowls when he was on the team, but
No,
I did not like him. But
they did.
let's see. Yes, they did. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the last time they won. But anyway, that's number 2.
Number 2 for me, Richard Sherman. Again, he's a great player. He was an amazing player. I hated him.
Right.
And of course,
that's what it takes.
It probably goes back to the same stuff as Russell Wilson. He always killed us. He always locked down our guys. He was great. He talked a lot of smack, and he always backed it up. He's one of those players that just he would talk smack, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for him to get got. I can't wait for someone to get him, and then he can't. Well, it never happened.
The worst thing about him was when he got bad, he got out of the game. He didn't hang around. Didn't he go to San Fran there for a year?
He went to the Super Bowl with San Fran.
Okay.
So I mean, he was good then.
Yeah.
And they did lose, and he didn't play amazing that game. Right. But still, he was just always great. He ended up with Tampa Bay.
Wow.
And I think actually he talked about in an interview, he said Devontae Smith was the reason he retired. Because he had to cover Devontae Smith in the Tampa Bay game in 21 in the playoffs.
Okay.
He was on their team still, and Devontae was, running routes on him, and he was like, I can't run this. I can't do this anymore. I can't run with these guys. He did an interview. He talked about like that game. I knew I couldn't play anymore. I didn't have the speed. I didn't have the ability.
But he was great. And I hate to say this, but back in the early days when Seattle started to get good, as much as I did not like those players, they were a great team to watch.
Incredible.
The power, what were they called? The Boom thing?
The Legion of Boom, yeah.
Legion of Boom. That was amazing. And I mean, when you get in the playoffs and your team hasn't been in the playoffs for years, you got nobody else that you start watching some of these other players. He was definitely, like you say, a player that you hate, but boy, if we could have signed him, it would have been great.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, that's just the way it is. So.
Number 1.
All right, number 1. Number 1 is easy. I don't have to even say his name. Everyone knows who it is. It's Aaron Rodgers. I never have liked him as a quarterback. I think it's a joke. Now he's become a caricature of himself with the whole, the whole politic thing he's doing and all the stuff he's doing. But versus the Eagles, he was 4-3, which kind of made me happy because I thought he was, I just remember one game back in the probably mid 210s, probably 212, 215. And we were playing him and he was just smoking us.
Yeah.
And I just remember him smirking. And I just,
I think the 52-20 game.
I told you that before. He was just smirking. And I was he was just throwing these out passes. And we were just clowns out there. We were getting destroyed. And I wanted to get on the field so bad to hit him. But anyway, he had 14 touchdowns to 5 interceptions in 7 games.
Oh, jeez.
The best thing was, though, we beat him a couple years ago. So the last time we played him, we beat him.
Yeah, we beat him last year. Sunday night game. We made Jordan Love come in.
Well, that was not last year.
22.
Sorry. Yes, you're right.
22.
And then, of course, Love looked good, decent. But, we were destroying him. It was great. 2 picks and everything.
Sacking him,
So I had 213 attempts for 1,713 yards. And here's the part that's kind of wild. Only 8 yards per pass.
Oh, wow.
So, you're not getting
So he was
12.
doing his little dunks and
of course,
counting
dink
on
and
his wide
dunk. That's what
receivers.
they've done their whole career, and that's what just drives me nuts.
That's why they always talk about, his interception ratio is the greatest ever. And you're like, because he never took a lot of risks in his career.
But, Aaron Rodgers, I'm glad we never signed him, and he's just one of those players that, football career, I hated him. I don't want to say I hated him, but I did not like him playing, and I was glad
to see. Playing.
I was glad kind of to see the way it went down at the end.
He's not done. He's still playing.
Yeah,
he's not gone. It's insane.
Yeah, I watched his highlight film this year. It was about 30 seconds long.
Stop.
But enough there. But 4-3 winning record against us. But I was glad that we beat him the last time we played him.
The reason I laughed so hard when you said it, my number 1, Aaron Rodgers. I hated that guy.
See, it's funny. And I know you've said it too. Like, if he's one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, why has he only got 1 Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't get it. And I know.
And in that game, in the year that they won the Super Bowl, and I'm sorry to step on your toes here, in 2010, we lost to them in the playoffs, and we should have beat them.
Yeah, I know.
Michael Vick threw it. Yeah. Terrible pass.
To Riley Cooper.
That was racist. Picked off. It was terrible.
Aaron Rodgers, I'm with you there. I grew tired quickly of the greatest quarterback, and I'm like, who? Like, why? Like, how are we? What? I don't understand.
Right.
And I know winning is not everything because then you kind of if you talk about winning only, you do get rid of, Peyton Manning only won 2, and you're like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
I get it. It's true. Winning can't be everything. Tom Brady's the best because he won everything.
Sure.
And he was always on the best team.
Yeah.
And even when he went away, he won,
Right.
So and I hate him, but it's funny. I hate Tom Brady probably more, but when they would play each other, I guess I hate Aaron Rodgers more because I would root for Tom Brady.
Right.
Because I'd be like, I can't stand there like, oh, the 2 greatest of all time, who's better? And I'd be like, I can't believe this is a discussion. Brady end this man's career. Would you beat him by 60 so he retires?
Right.
Because I'm like, you can't. Yeah. I hate them both, but you cannot put. I don't even know why he's in the same conversation. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, the greatest thing about that is, like you say, he left this year, and then here Jordan Love comes in, and this is the guy that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't give him a glass of water if he was dying of thirst, and he ends up taking over the mantle of the team, and everyone's like, oh, the Packers aren't going to be any good. And of course, look what they did this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just kind of shows you that, first of all, the front office upstairs in the Packer organization is pretty darn good.
They knew what they were doing.
They it's funny because when they picked Jordan Love, we all collectively kind of went, what are you doing? They need a wide receiver.
Yeah,
they need something else.
That was so weird.
But, I mean.
Hey, it's working out now.
I mean, the youngest team in the league right now, and they went pretty far in the playoffs. So,
all right, let's say our goodbyes. We're going super long. Sorry about that, everyone. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and comment below your 5 most hated players that didn't play for your team. You can email us any questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
And fly, Eagles fly.